welcome all. Welcome to Passion Anonymous. It really feels like that right now for me, I'm telling you. So tonight I would like to share a little bit of what my life has become, which is a mix between adventure and venture. Today I share my life between doing transaction, helping entrepreneurs, and also traveling to remote places, organizing expeditions and adventure. A couple of examples. Back in November last year, I was in West Papua, which is a western part of a big island in Indonesia, leading an expedition in the remote jungles of Papua. Looking at the deforestation issues and whatnot, and living in a treehouse for a few days with people who have literally nothing in that jungle. And as a thank you, these people gave me this, oops, not the bottle, which I don't have right there, but this great axe, which is a memento of my expedition, which was a very nice gift from people who have literally nothing there. When I came back from that, trip, immediately after, I organized a closing for financing of a startup in Paris, as I was transiting back from that trip. 10 years ago, I was in Antarctica leading an expedition with scientists from the NSF, looking at the melting ice there, and this is a piece of rock from Antarctica that they gave me. As you may know, Antarctica is actually a big, huge continent and rock, and we were putting GPS stations, drilling the rock to put GPS stations, and as the ice on top of the rock is melting, this rock, the continent, is actually going up. And that's how you can measure the melting of the ice right there. So one adventure expedition after the other, and one transaction after the other. It led to over 100 countries traveled to, and more than 100 transaction and startups financed, and that's what I've been doing for almost 30 years now. And at that time, I decided I would not wait 20 years to do what I really wanted to do, and I really got into the two passions I have in my life, which are venture and adventure. How it all started, well, I'm from Brittany. I must have some travel genes, as most of Britons have there. And also I had a dad who was in the military, which is probably why I don't smile much. He did travel to, at war, but Indochina and Algeria, and always came back with a great black and white at the time photographs from these countries, and introduced me to collecting exotic stamps as well, and that really developed in me at a very young age. We're talking 8 years old, 10 years old, 12. Really led me to love the exotic aspects of the world, especially being from living in Paris, in a bleak part of Paris at the time. Fast forward to 1983, I moved to the US as a consultant, not poor, but no money, and living in a little room above a garage, and consultant for a few years, and after a few years I leave management consulting, and that's where I start to do angel deals, angel investments, and advisory, and also I start to take what eventually would be a year off to really try to find out what I would like to do with the next portion of my life. And the epiphany for me, and it was really an epiphany, was simply going on a trek with a friend of mine who invited me to do a trek, a climb in Nepal, walking, trekking, climbing 4 weeks around the Annapurnas. And for me, it was really exhilarating and exciting. And since then, it's been delusional optimism. I would do really what I want to do, and I would do the two things I really like to do, which are this angel investing and advisory, and also these traveling. And there are two worlds which have, by the way, some interesting parallels. You have to surround yourselves with great people, whether you do an expedition in Antarctica or whether you try to create a great startup. You have the vision of where your company is going to go. You have the vision of where you have to go with your expedition, whether it's a summit or whatnot. My next expedition, by the way, will be this fall in South Georgia Island, South Sandwich Islands, which are islands between the Falklands and Antarctica and the Antarctic Ocean. And I'll be leading an expedition of 12 people, including two women, 4 Brits. So very challenging group of people to manage, all with kind of great stories and great egos. And we'll look at climate change issues in southern Antarctic Ocean and how the changes in the weather are affecting the oceans in this part of the world. So the last thought I'd like to share is really for me, and I hope it will be like this for you. It has been for you. You can have certainly several passions, not one but 2 or more, whatever they are. Work on them and do them when you can. I'd like to leave you with a note I found in Antarctica at a science camp where I was. It was a poem attributed to Mark Twain, which was written on a notebook of a scientist, and it says, 20 years from now, you will regret more the things that you didn't do rather than the ones you did. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, and catch the trade winds in your sails. Explore, dream, discover. Safe travels. Thank you.